Good morning, guys. Welcome to Saturday's long run. When I get back, you see it's 85 degrees and monsoons are definitely up. We're dealing with 57% humidity. Oh, fun, fun. Well, today was kind of a difficult run. Still dealing with some calf pains. Clearly, I didn't fuel up right for it, and I noticed that in my pace versus HR. So I cut my run short, sadly. Alright, see, I'm down to 36 hours. Yes, I only ran 10 miles a day. Not the 16 I'd planned, but I will go into more of that after my shower real quick. Okay, see, I dropped a little bit, but then again, we knew from Thursday I was going to need 3 days to recover, so that explains that. Here you go. See, 10.11 miles total. Alright, we'll go ahead and get meet upstairs and get our weigh-in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, well, since we did have a short run this morning, I'm not expecting miracles. We'll just kind of see where we're at. Here we go. Let's get this thing on. Okay. Okay, BMI is 23.9, fine. 8.6% body fat, fine. 66.7% water, I think that's up. 65.4 pounds of muscle, I think that's down. 10.6 pounds of bone, I think we dropped a little bit. 157.8, alright, 2.2 pounds. Considering last week was a 10-mile run and I came in at 160, something's going pretty good, so not too bad. Alright, I'll meet you guys downstairs. Hey guys, good morning and welcome to Saturday of week 9. Today is long run day, and as I shared with you guys before, every Saturday I'm wearing a different marathon shirt from my 9 prior marathons. Today I have on the 2010 Rock and Roll San Diego Marathon. Take a look there. And I did San Diego in 2010. This was back before they changed the course. And back then, when we started kind of downtown and we ended up at SeaWorld. They've since changed it. I haven't been back since. But that was a fun but not so fun run. Obviously the humidity. Also there was an elevation because there was a part of it they have you running on the freeway, which is kind of cool because the whole freeway is blocked off. But you're running the opposite direction. I think it was the 203 freeway, if I'm not mistaken. And so you're kind of going uphill and embankment. So that's kind of a challenge on the calves and the ankles. And but overall, it was very scenic. I enjoyed it for the most part. And yeah, so that was my 3rd marathon. So today was long run day, as I shared with you guys when I first got back. Not a pleasant one. Only did 10 miles. Yes, sad but true. I was geared up and ready to do more, but I've just been dealing with actually, I've been, as you guys know, I've been kind of nursing the calf pains, and so that was kind of getting the best of me to some degree. And then also yesterday, I don't know exactly what I did, but basically on the arch of your foot, on what would be the arch of your foot, at the top of it, because your feet for the most part have a lot of similar bone structure as our hands, other than the fact that our fingers are longer. Our toes still have 3 segments to them. They're just a lot smaller or shorter, and what would be between like this joint in your thumb in the arch. I haven't had this in a long time, but all these little joints here are called metatarsals. The little bones are called little metatarsals. And I've had before what they call a subluxed metatarsal. And that is, for whatever reason, when the bone looks like this, it kind of gets out of shape and bends, or like just gets dislocated. Basically gets dislocated. And you can sit there and manually pop it back in, yes, believe it or not. And I didn't exactly know what the problem was because I was at rest yesterday. I think it was last night. I was at rest and I was just kind of relaxed my feet and I felt this pain come on. I didn't do anything. I wasn't walking on it. It just happened. I'm like, oh boy. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I just need to let my legs relax, go to bed. And then this morning I was still having the problem. So I'm sitting there trying to relocate my metatarsal, which I did feel it snap back in, but of course the pain was still there. Like, oh man, don't tell me today's run's gonna be off. I really don't need that. So if you've ever done this, anybody who's ever done physical therapy, no, I haven't. I just happen to know this as a personal trainer, that sometimes just rolling your foot around on a tennis ball at your own pressure, whatever pressure is comfortable for you, rolling your foot around on a tennis ball can really massage all the muscles on the bottom half of your feet. Kind of amazing. And so I did that, and to my pleasure, that relieved any extra pain or discomfort I was feeling after I basically relocated my metatarsal. And so I took off on my run, and you know, for those of you who run for any period of time, clearly, you know, injury is nature of the game. It's just gonna happen. Not too often have I gone an entire, you know, marathon training cycle without an injury. Not too often. When I do go, you know, injury-free, I totally celebrate that. But it just happens. It's the nature of the beast, especially because now you guys know I'm really pushing myself. Clearly the heart is not complaining a whole lot, it really isn't, but definitely the muscles and tendons are having a little more time adapting. And so I got into my run and went in about mile 4. I noticed that, you know, my heart rate was starting to come up and my pace was coming down. I'm like, not this again. So I did bring goo with me this time. I brought goo with me, so I was happy. I popped out one of those and started going at that. Now, if you ever goo and run at the same time, word of the wise: if you're running with a Camelback, great. If you're doing this during the race, goo at the water stations. Don't goo mid-run, because you're not going to have enough saliva to really get the stuff down, and then it just coats the inside of your mouth, and your mouth feels sticky. Of course, you're dehydrating as you run, so your body's desire to salivate has no desire. It's just not going to happen. So so for me, when I was running, what I would do is I would take some of the goo, put it in my mouth, and take and get some water, and then swish it around. It sounds weird, but swish it around like it's mouthwash, except don't spit it out. Once you feel like the water has incorporated itself with the goo to some degree, then swallow it down. And that will help to remove a big majority of that goo in your mouth. And I'm not saying it's a bad aftertaste, because clearly don't buy goo that you don't like. And as I've been telling you guys before about, you know, maybe different flavors, try them out first before you buy them in bulk, if you're going to buy them in bulk, and make certain you can tolerate the flavor. So as long as you like the goo, the aftertaste isn't bad, but the whole purpose of goo is to get it into our bloodstream, just not to flavor up the mouth. So I was running and I was doing this, that was fine, and I was really hoping maybe for some noticeable results after taking it. Yes, I did feel like my run, you know, kind of got a little easier, but at the same time, you know, the heart rate and the pace certainly didn't recover, and I do kind of contribute that to just the overall general feeling of you know, overuse of your legs. They're just not motivated, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the numbers on this, and we'll definitely keep this short today because I don't have too much going on. I do have a couple articles I want to share with you. But as always, our daily shot of wheatgrass, and yes, it's in a bowl because I had a little spillover. And hey, good to the last drop. And I'm almost not sarcastic on that. Almost. So anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look at today's numbers. As you see, I only did 10.11 miles. I was out there for almost an hour and a half. My slow, pathetic pace today was 8:43, and again, I do apologize if that's faster than some of you guys watching. But for me, it's all subjective. Everything is subjective to you as a person and what you're capable of. Especially when you guys know what I did on Thursday. Spent 1,160 calories doing this. I was the temperature read about 84 according to Garmin, and Garmin and Google right now seem about a 1 degree off. I'll let that slide. Now Garmin records 62% humidity. I think Google said 57. I guess when you want pity, the higher the number, the better. So we're going to go at 62% for the humidity. For the pace, it was fine. If my legs felt better, I wouldn't have cared. Looking through the blue line, which is our pace. Yes, I got caught at the street for cars after mile 1. And you can, just real quick, without having to run through this, generally speaking, my pace, my pace looked promising, and then of course it dove down later on. Same thing with the heart rate. It was kind of up and down, and of course this is the bad thing about running by heart rate, because every now and then you look, you have to make course corrections, so your heart rate's always going up and down. Any days I run strictly based on pace, the heart rate tends to be smoother. And then for whatever reason, right about here, it picked up and then it slowly started to climb. But this is what I was talking about. Look down here, the run cadence area down here. As far as my legs go, and we look at the numbers, yeah, I started out at 180, and then for a period of time there, wow, I was just cruising along at 184 because for whatever reason, again, my legs just weren't feeling it. And then it brought it down to 182, and then, for the balance of it, almost for about half of it, where was I at? Yeah, maybe for about half of it, distance-wise. Yeah, 44, you figure out 45 minutes out of an hour and a half, so yeah, you figure out pretty much halfway through it, so about 5 miles into it, magic number, 5 miles, your body warms up. At least mine seems to warm up at about after 5 miles, and I've noticed this. And so the first 5 miles are just kind of proving ground to get yourself ready, at least for me. But going back to this, so after 5 miles, I was pretty much cruising out at 180, so my legs relaxed to some degree, fine. Today's run, average heart rate was 151. You gotta love that first mile because I really didn't average that. Maximum 160. Still had a little trouble kind of keeping that under control, but I think a lot of it sometimes is either trying to go and run at the same time or cars or whatever. Actually, there was a time I was crossing the intersection, so I know I was sprinting across that. But overall, aerobic threshold was 3.9. I would have liked to have seen it a little lower for the run that it was, but that's fine. Average pace, average movement pace seemed pretty solid at 8:43. And overall, my average cadence was 181. Still not happy about that, but again, it talks about, it shows me flat out my legs weren't into it, or they were hurting in their own way. Out of the, of course, split 11 is just like 1100ths of a mile. So for the first 10 splits, we could see 8:54, first mile warm up, no big deal. 22, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a promising run. That kind of fell off a little bit. Then I continued to fall, and then yeah, I came back here on mile 8, dropped 10 seconds, and then of course recovered that. Went back to this 850 stuff. Not too happy there. And sometimes they say, well, we have elevation gain, we have elevation loss. So first mile warm up, I don't care about that. Yes, I noticed the gain, I can visually see it. Mile 2, yes, I do acknowledge there's a loss. Somehow when you look down the road, it doesn't look like 18 feet, but Garmin seems to know best. So that may have contributed to the speed. Ironically, mile 3 I dropped some more. You figured I would have continued going fast, but not quite the case. Mile 4, I was now I'm going the other direction, so I went up 10 feet. Went up 10 feet, so that's fine. That makes sense. Mile 5 was kind of up and down 10 feet, so it would have been a wash, but somehow that doesn't quite show. But needless to say, you can see here how elevation gains may have contributed to some degree. Even though they were minor over the course of a mile, they were still present. Average heart rate, I was doing pretty good, at least through mile 5. And yeah, then after that, then we pretty much settled in the 155 to 140 or 153 to 155 range. And for this pace, of course, that's terrible for me. You saw that I dropped VO2 max. I lost a point there. Here we go with the numbers. Here we go again with the numbers. Where was it actually? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, according to Garmin, it wasn't until mile 7 I started cruising along the 180 pace. So yeah, from mile 7 all the way back, I was cruising along 180. And of course, because of this pace being slow, I spent this many calories. That's kind of what it is. Something else I want to share with you guys, a couple articles I'll go ahead and put into the description section of today's video. And I think these are some good reads, especially for those who are either A, you have trouble just motivating yourself to do the long run, or B, you have trouble trying to get over the mundane boredom of it. And so for me, before I share this with you, for me, there's a couple things I do, and what I'm about to share with you correlates well with the issues addressed in both these articles. One talks about mental tricks for long runs, and the other one is, are you overemphasizing the marathon long run? Okay, as far as mental tricks go, today, just so you guys know, today I didn't run the canal. Normally I would run the canal, and I have no trouble knocking out 16 miles on it. But because I knew my legs were not 100%, I really didn't want to get too far from home. So should I have to cut my run short, I'm not sitting there trying to find shortcuts way far from my house just to kind of get home. Because once pain starts coming on and it's not the good pain, trying to get done with your run as quick as possible is ideal, because clearly we don't want to make the pain worse. And so where I ran today was pretty much the same course I ran on Thursday, except I took it 1 mile further. 1 mile further, that allowed me to get be able to pick up the miles. And had everything gone smoothly, I would have pretty much just kind of ran this same course like 2 laps. 2 laps on this course would have actually got me 17 miles total. Clearly, I didn't quite complete even, well, technically, I completed at least 1 lap per se. But as far as trying to keep yourself from getting bored, when I'm going out and back, 8 miles out, 8 miles back, I'm always looking for short incremental reference points. Be it the next road I'm going to run underneath, or be it the next crossing bridge over the canal from one side to the other. Little things like that help to break down a 16-mile run, 8 miles each direction, into more incremental parts. Of course, when you're on city streets, you could always look forward to the next half-mile street or the next 1 mile street, and things like that. So little things like that can also be used to kind of break down your long runs into increments. And so this article here talks about mental tricks for long runs, and so I'm going to go ahead and post that. So that's nice. That's a nice read if you guys have trouble with motivating yourself for the long run. And then this other article here, are you overemphasizing the marathon long run? Now, this is a very good read, and the reason for that is that, all right, guys, we're back. I'm back. Clearly, the concerns I was having, and I don't know exactly what. I haven't watched the prior segment, so I don't exactly know if I shared this with you guys before it started giving me flashing issues. But apparently, note to self: always delete the hard drive after every shoot, because apparently I let it collect and I ran out of hard drive space on my camera. So this is why obviously some things have changed. And so I kind of got cut off mid-sentence in just a moment ago as far as this video goes. So real quick, going back to that, on these two articles I was starting to talk about. Mental tricks for long runs. This is a great article that talks about how to find ways of mixing it up and overcome the long runs and kind of get through, get through get through the run. Depending on how fast or how slow you run. If you're really committed to doing some sort of a 20-mile long run in preparation for your marathon, again, depending on how fast or slow, 20 miles can be a good chunk of your morning. It just can be. And even if hypothetically, let's say I decided just to run 8, and I'm not worried about heart rate. I'm just going to run 8 flats. Well, 8 times 8 is 64. So 16 miles is 2 hours and 8 minutes. And then add another 4 times 8, another 32 minutes onto that. 2 hours and 8, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And even at an 8-minute pace, a 20-mile run is 2 hours and 40 minutes. So yeah, you can be out there for a bit, and that's at an 8-minute pace. And if you're a slower runner than that, then it's a real time commitment. It just is. So it can get boring. You're like over and over and over. So this article here talks about ways of overcoming that. Now, this article also talks about, are you overemphasizing the long run? Because it talks about, let's see, where does it bring up here? It says, I'll pause for a second, let you sound the gasp of fate. In my experience, too many beginner runners and those running slower than 3 hours and 45 minutes focus on trying to squeeze multiple 20 to 22 mile runs into their training segment at the expense of improving more critical physiological systems. More importantly, scientific research has shown that runs over 3 hours offer little additional aerobic benefit compared to runs of 2 hours, while significantly increasing the risk of injury. So, wow, this is pretty much like this short article. Sorry, I thought it was more than that. Oh, there's the next page. Sorry, I didn't preview this part too much. Here you go. Here you go. It even talks about the science of the long run and why is a 20-miler so popular, and how to train smarter. And then, of course, that's the last part of it. So, worth looking at, definitely worth getting yourself acquainted with, especially if long runs aren't your friend or you're new to the marathon in general. And so definitely keep that in mind, especially when we look at a 20-mile run. Because going back to that for a second, at 8 minutes a mile, 20 miles is 2 hours and 40 minutes. We just mentioned that. If I wanted to run a 22-mile long run, now I'm in it for another 16 minutes, so I'm out in it for 2 hours and 56 minutes. 2 hours and 56 minutes for a 22-mile run. That's a time commitment. And that really borders that 3 hour window that the article mentions. So keep that in mind, especially for those who run long runs slower than that. Keep that in mind and perhaps just cut it off at 3 hours so that you don't injure yourself while you can still improve. So that's what I want to share with you guys on that. A couple other things. I was talking about goo earlier, finding what you like. This is the goo gel I ran with today. This is the goo gel I ran with today. The same one that I showed you the box of, was it like last weekend or weekend before? And the nice thing about this, the Jet Blackberry, has 450 milligrams of amino acids. Yeah, nothing that's going to bulk you up, but at least they're present and they help you out. It also has 40 milligrams of caffeine. This is very important because 40 milligrams of caffeine is is slightly more caffeine than you get from an average 12-ounce soda. Out of the can, that kind of 12-ounce soda before the ice. So keep that in mind, because as I learned with the Portland Marathon in 2010, so that will be next week's shirt. Back then, I would go, when I was doing the Rock and Roll Marathon series, Amway was out there in the expos a lot, and they had this. I didn't practice this rhodiola 110. It's a little more energy supplement from these guys. It has the rhodiola root. It has caffeine. It has spinach dehydrate. Some other concentrate blends for like a cherry extract and things like that for flavor, though it's not chewable. Each one of these little pills, you can tell I've never used this one. Each one of those little pills has 75 milligrams of caffeine. And hang on, are we dying here? Okay, now I'm getting battery notice. So, looks like I'm going to pause this one more time. What a day I'm having. And we're going to swap out the battery. Alright, welcome back for the third time and last time. So, we erased the hard drive during the course of this video. We swapped out batteries during the course of this video. I think technologically we're going to be safe for the last bit of this. So, going back to this, since I can still remember this, since everything happened pretty quickly. So, back, like I said, back in the day, Amway was really present in the PF, like the Rock and Roll Marathon series of their expos, and they always gave you out. They swapped it up because they used to give you like a little tablet full of like 8 or 10 of these things to try out, and so the thing about caffeine is that it helps to buffer the pain, so it allows you to push yourself. Yes, it raises your heart rate, but it allows you to push yourself and without feeling the exhaust and the fatigue. So when I ran Portland, my thought was, hey, let's go ahead and pop these. I think I was trying to do this again like every 3 or 4 miles, so that this way, because I was like, I was honest to God, I was running harder than I should have been running, period. And I think I was trying to pull 730s, 730 miles, and in all reality, I wasn't prepared to hold that for 26 miles. So I decided to give this a try. Now, the downside, so caffeine does help buffer the pain with speed, fine. The downside to caffeine is not only does it accelerate your heart, it accelerates everything. So, your breakfast in the morning seems to get to the finish line a lot faster than it would have if you'd not been overly caffeinated. And yes, well, I was having just a heck of a run. I mean, my brother and his family lived up in Portland, which was great. I stayed with them. It was fantastic. During mile 9, I ran right past his apartment building. So those guys, all they had to do after he dropped me off in the morning, all they had to do was come downstairs at about the time I anticipated running past his house. And then, wow, he got a chance to watch me run right outside of his front door. Kind of cool. But, so in addition to that, I was running with a different watch. If you remember, what was it, last week? I think last week or the week before, I was showing you some real prior runs from like a couple years ago, and the display on the Garmin screen showed a different watch. That was the Garmin 405CX. I ran, let's see, technically I've run all 9 marathons with that. I've never run with this one now. And unfortunately, the downside of that one was that the bezel was touch. Instead of having definitive buttons you pushed to accomplish different screens and things, the bezel was touch bezel. So you'd have to double touch it or touch it on the side to get to different screens. kind of a cool concept, but rain also touches the bezel. And in Portland, you might imagine, yes, I think this for the third time or fourth time in the history of their marathon, it rained during the marathon. So I spent the better part of 26.2 miles in light to medium rain all morning long. And so by mile 7, my touch bezel wasn't functioning. My watch, which of course, as you probably tell, I'm a very data-driven person, my watch became just a watch. It displayed nothing more than the time. And so I couldn't see what my current pace was or any of that. And so now I'm running the last 19 miles of this thing totally by feel. And again, every 3 or 4 miles or so, I'm sitting there popping another one of these things. And the Portland Marathon, and I kid you not, became the Porta Potty World Tour Marathon, because I think I'd stopped. I want to say at least 4 times during the course of that marathon, because I didn't realize the caffeine was doing it. I didn't know this at the time, and so yeah. Now the irony of that is that because as you know, those who run, when you get past certain mile markers, they usually have a digital clock going and that clock represents when gun time. It represents gun time, not when you personally cross the starting line, but the gun time. Those clocks were all off, because of the rain. So I had no digital timepiece to kind of even reference what my pace per mile thing was, and so I come around the corner. We're finally coming down to the final stretch. I'm coming around the corner back to the finish line, and the finish line has the digital clock you can see the time on. And coming around the corner, it may have been a 100-yard dash. I'm not 100 or 200 yards. I'm not 100% certain. But I saw the clock, and I realized I could still PR. I could still PR if I was like within the small window of opportunity. And so I sprinted. I took off for whatever I had left because I was dehydrated at the time. I ended up pulling the muscles in both of my hamstrings, and I felt that. And I crossed the finish line, and what made that an awesome race was, despite the fact that I had the Porta Potty World Tour, I failed to hit my PR by just 8 seconds. 8 seconds. 8 seconds would have matched my current PR at that time. I was like, oh no. But I was flattered that running by feel and with all those little hiccups during the course of my race, I got that close. So that was kind of cool. So that's my caffeine story. Should you try to go with the Jet Blackberry? I know if you guys read comments, Clark and I have definitely shared some conversation about my personal flavors and things like that. So Jet Blackberry, I like the flavor, don't get me wrong. However, you may want to also mix this up, depending on how often you goo, mix this up with another flavor so you're not caffeinating yourself. If you want to goo every 3 or 4 miles, whatever your case is, perhaps you don't want to caffeinate every 3 or 4 miles, because when you're out on your training runs, they don't put porta potties out there. However, now I've always talked to you about making certain flavors you like. I have some other flavors that, honest to God, they've been sitting in my cabinet forever. One is by Goo, and again, these are probably things I collected at expos. One is the mint chocolate chip. Mint chocolate chip. Now, I really haven't opened this. To me, this is like liquid peppermint patty. If you guys have ever had those peppermint patty candies, those are awesome, especially refrigerated. I would not want to drink that. Those are the kind of, now that as a candy, I wouldn't want to run down the street eating those things. I don't associate that kind of pleasure with running. I just don't. So I personally would definitely stay away from, I got something on my head, I personally would definitely stay away from this flavor as a run. Now another flavor I would stay away from, and this is by Power Bar. This is just chocolate. This is just their chocolate one. And again, I enjoy chocolate, don't get me wrong. But do I associate chocolate with running down the street? No. So that's another flavor, which is why they're still here. I'm not running with them. I'll probably just enjoy them for whatever they are, but I'm not going to run down the street with them. Now, another flavor, and Clark, you and I have talked about this. I ironically happen to have this, is strawberry banana. And this strawberry banana, yeah, I've ran with these before, and it's not a bad mix. It's really not a bad mix. If you've ever eaten, and I kid you not, if you've ever eaten the Gerber banana food or banana pudding in the Gerber baby bottles, it kind of reminds you of that. And that Gerber banana stuff, pretty good stuff. But this is a flavor worth running to. So if you want to sit there and mix up these two, not a bad deal. So not a bad deal on that. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. We're done with the goos and things like that. So at least I feel good knowing that I've covered everything I wanted to share with you guys about goo gels and running and fueling up, things like that. So once again, I'm going to attempt to wrap this up because we're good to go for today. And if you're new to the video, or if you like today's video, be certain to hit the like button. If you have questions or comments, please post them below. I'll always address your questions or comments. And every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I always post new videos. And because, I'll tell you ahead of time now, because of the way my legs did not perform for me today, right now I am revisiting my plans for week 10. Normally they don't post these in marathon training programs, but as I've shared with you guys many times, sometimes you just gotta listen to your body. And in the spirit of the Pirates of the Caribbean, training plans, marathon training plans are not exactly rules. They're more like guidelines. So always listen to your body. So next week, I'm thinking about making it a recovery week. Does that mean no running? Absolutely. I can't afford not to take a week off because I personally know I will drop VO2 max. I know this after 1 week I'll drop VO2 max. I've seen this in the past. So, and of course I'm trying to gain VO2 max. So I'm working on a plan right now. Definitely next week are all going to be easy runs. How far remains to be seen at this moment, but they're all going to be easy runs with the hope and emphasis of still improving my respiratory efficiency without putting additional stress on the legs. So running at a slower speed is always easier than hauling your ass down the street at a higher speed. It just is, especially, and your legs will not argue with me on this at all. So that's kind of the plan I'm filling out. I'll still post Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I'll give you guys updates as to exactly how that's evolved and how that's been progressing and working for me. So that's all I've got today. I do apologize that clearly today's run did not turn into the 17-mile run I had planned. However, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta make the best of things. You know, keep your eye on the prize, stay focused, and just just make the best of things. I know what I'm trying to accomplish, and as long as I know my outcome, and I know the why I want to do this, I just have to work around the how, especially when parts of me have been overused. So, well, again, we'll talk more about that on Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, hit the like button if you did so. As always, leave questions and comments, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Until then, have a great weekend and take care.